For the second year in a row, the BRICS Summit is going to be held virtually. It's going to be chaired this time around by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the second time in 6 years that he will lead the forum. But as leaders of the world's largest developing countries, representing about 41% of the world's population, meet, the focus is going to be on the crisis in Afghanistan. From New Delhi's perspective, Taliban's ascent and its proximity to Pakistan is a cause for concern. Experts warn India now faces an increased risk of cross-border terror attacks and insurgency in Kashmir. In the months leading up to the US exit from Kabul, India has been often left out of the Troika Plus talks convened by Moscow. These discussions with the Taliban were attended by China, Pakistan and the United States, which is why almost overnight New Delhi went from being Afghanistan's closest ally to being the only major regional power that did not have a direct line of communication open with the Taliban.
If each country's individual interaction with Afghanistan is to be considered, of course, India is on a different footing than, say, Russia or China, for that matter. So this is a very difficult situation. But I would say that the difficulty is not just at India's doorstep. It's also about how China looks at this whole idea of, extremist elements finding their space in the current regime.
Still on the fence about recognizing a Taliban-led government in Afghanistan, and is likely to once again use its BRICS chairmanship to drive home concerns about instability in the region. And most experts say that with hardliners finding positions in the interim government that's been formed in Kabul now, to a large extent, New Delhi's concerns have been legitimized. And not just Asia, Taliban's rise also means there could be an increased amount of extremist activity, experts warn, in Africa as well. But recently, despite its views on Afghanistan aligning more closely with Beijing's for a while now, Moscow has backed India's concerns on the long-term security implications for Asia and the wider region. Last week, President Putin said that Russia is hopeful that the Taliban will behave in a civilized manner. And ahead of the BRICS Summit, Russia and India will hold deliberations on Afghanistan as well. Russia's National Security Advisor Nikolay Patrushev is in New Delhi this week. He's holding meetings with his Indian counterpart Ajit Doval and will also meet with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India and South Africa will also raise their demand for a waiver of patent protections on COVID-19 vaccines at this meeting. BRICS leaders have previously backed this proposal, but it has been pending at the World Trade Organization since October last year. The proposal will allow COVID-19 vaccines and other new technologies to become easily accessible to poor countries that have struggled to inoculate their populations at the same pace as the developed world. This move has been opposed by the pharmaceutical industry and some countries that claim that the move will stifle research and innovation. Neha Poonia, SABC News, New Delhi.